This is the Brick and Banter podcast. I'm Ethan Burke, Irongate Realtors. Today I have...
Christopher Brunett with Move Better Massage Therapy, LLC.
And you own it?
Yes, sir. I'm the owner. We got a team right now of 4 other independent contractors with me. I myself as well am a sports massage therapist. We're working out of one gym right now, but we also have a main location where we started at in Kettering. The other location right now that we just started is in Hybrid Strength and Fitness, located out in Tip City.
Cool.
And hopefully we're hiring 2 more independent contractors next month. We'll be going to the school later this week. So
that's cool.
Hopefully we get some good hunting.
Which school?
Dane School of Medical Massage. They're located pretty much up the street where my practice is at. So they're also in Kettering. They're right off of Far Hills. So they're maybe like a 3-minute drive away. So pretty easy for me.
Where's the main building at?
Main building? Shoot. It is, for massage or for the school?
For you.
Yeah, it's 28 East Ron Road. So it's right off of Far Hills also. So down the street pretty much from Dorothy Lane Market and Up and Running. Those are the usual landmarks people think of.
So is that like a standalone location?
Yeah, so it's a weird building, right? There originally were 22 LLCs. Yeah. So 28 East Ron Road is where we're located at. The building's a little different, so we don't own the whole building. It's actually multiple suites. So there's 22 suites in there. I rent out one, and then now we're renting out a second one in there as well with multiple rooms.
Oh, that's cool.
So we've got 3 rooms for massage therapy and then 1 waiting room, but it's very awkward. Like the first room I started renting out is on the first floor, and it's just by itself in 1 room, and then upstairs is where that's an actual suite that I'm renting out. That's
Okay.
where 3 more rooms are.
They didn't have any like right next to each other?
No, basically because of square footage, it's a great deal. It's a low end from the normal average. I believe 125 to 175 is that normal range. They're at 125, and you go anywhere else, it's actually really like $1.75 to $2 or even like $2.15, $2.25 a square foot. And you don't pay utilities, so no one leaves hardly ever. So thankfully, if someone ever leaves, they either 1 go out of business or 2 retire. So hopefully retire is what I always hope for. In this case, this one went out of business. So we kind of lucked out. They obviously did not, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But works out for us.
Are there any like complementary businesses in that building?
So it's kind of interesting. There are a lot of massage therapists within a quarter mile of where we're at, even in that same building. There are 3 other currently. So when I first started, it was me and there's 3 other different, LLCs or massage therapists. Now, there's still, 3 LLCs, but we're the ones that are increasing. And now there's 5 of us there. So finally we were outnumbered in the competition there. But all these buildings by us, there's about, 50 to 60-ish massage therapists, which is perfect for competition. Basically, a lot of them been around a long time. They fill up. We get that overflow organically, especially when people are looking on Google.
Yeah.
We've got the highest reviews now. So
Nice.
We're kind of the first pick usually now, thankfully.
Yeah. That was something I was going to ask. Like you have all that competition right next to you. How do you differentiate yourself from them?
SEO, big time. And if you don't have money, right, what do you do? So Google reviews was huge.
Yeah.
Basically, I found that if you, text, maybe 2 to 5 days later, just checking in with your client, seeing how they're feeling, make sure everything's okay, seeing if you need to schedule another, session with them, maybe sooner rather than later, or if we need to refer out for a PT. Obviously we care, but it really shows on their side that we care. So when we follow up with that, that text, we had another one asking for, Google reviews. Obviously we're putting specifically their name, time, which massage therapist they were with. And from doing that, if you look at other people like the spas or the franchises, when they just do like an automated one, right? So an automated text or email to get a review. I mean, less than 10% of the people actually will reply to that versus we're almost closer to 40%. So we get reviews way faster. So we're at like 360, so we're above everybody except for the chain massage elements. They're 389. But in the time period they got 1 review, we've had 20.
Nice.
So by this winter, we'll surpass them. And we should ideally be the first, massage, business to ever hit 400 in Dayton is the goal. But if they end up being this, we'll quickly surpass them. We'll definitely be the first for, 500. So it's pretty, that's the huge thing is the Google reviews. Other than that, you got to do social media, right? And as you and I talked before this podcast, we don't like social media as much necessarily unless we're doing like podcasts, right? Or other people are helping us out maybe.
Yeah.
So for me, I sponsor athletes. So we put a contract together. Then we turned it to like an ambassadorship program now too. And so they'll do a weekly story for us and a monthly collaborative post, which really helps build up too, especially with working within specifically gyms. No one's doing that, so we're going all in right now on that, and it's working out well, thankfully.
Nice. Who are the athletes you got right now?
Yeah, so we started working with specific athletes.
Yeah.
Shoot, we got over 20, and I have a terrible
cool.
memory. I have a list because I'm really bad with names. So I can tell you right now, the very first one we sponsored was Aaron Ashe, awesome bodybuilder. He was the person that told me to start working with athletes in general. We went that direction. And from there, I started sponsoring just different bodybuilders specifically at first, and we stuck with that, and then transitioned to now we got a few power lifters. We have a professional arm wrestler actually. He's
cool.
It's crazy. His name's Cody Smith. He's ranked 6th in the nation right now, and he's obviously the state champion and everything as well. So he travels, and the only time he does anything usually is if it's like a ranked match in the nation. So it's pretty fascinating. I didn't know anything about arm wrestling other than obviously ergonomics.
Yeah.
So I'm learning more and more about the sport through him, and he always travels out of state. So it's pretty wild. He was in New York. He was ranked 7th then against the 6th ranked guy. It was on I believe local TV and everything out there too, because it's at that higher end. Dude won, so he's ranked 6th now. So
That's gotta be interesting. I wonder how you train for arm wrestling. If you just
well,
get one of those cable machines, just go like that a bunch at the gym.
Exactly. That's the funny thing is that a lot of them that are really good don't really train, or they don't have a regimented training program. Cody's different. He trains out of the dirty gym, and so heavy on powerlifting, right? So he trains exactly like a powerlifter, plus all those extra specific movements for arm wrestling. It's phenomenal, actually.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, so he's got a lot of power, and people they all think it's all rotator cuff, right?
Yeah.
Or upper body. But, if you watch them, there's a lot of pivoting, and they hold on to the stick. I have no idea what it's called, but just terrible. I should. But they use it, and they anchor and everything. And so it's interesting because you see the hips moving, the legs moving. So there's a lot of hip and leg drive there, and a lot of abdominal work. So powerlifting actually, in a lot of ways, is perfect. The only thing he's missing is more of that rotational movement, which he incorporates, for arm wrestling specifically. So powerlifting definitely, as long as you can stand the wear and tear on the joints, pretty ideal. So I hope he puts together a program for it because he's ranked enough. I think he could do really well with that.
That'd be pretty cool. And I mean, that's a niche. You never hear anyone talking about that.
Yeah,
so.
he'd be the one, right? Just like we're doing the same thing working within gyms. If you're the one, you're going to make it.
So you got powerlifters, bodybuilders, professional arm wrestler.
And now we're working with, more jiu-jitsu grapplers, but who we're sponsoring right now, as we're still kind of learning the field, we're sponsoring the MMA fighters right now. So we got a couple guys, right? Yeah, we got a couple guys from SNG Jiu-Jitsu right now.
Oh, cool.
But they, MMA fighters train from 3 different gyms too. So that's just the grappling one. They have different striking coaches as well. And so we've got Joel Aldridge, and then recently Chip. Oh my gosh, I'm blanking on Chip's name. Chip, if you hear this, I'm sorry, man. I love you, brother. He just won. He won a title fight. He's 4-1 right now, and he won by submission. So you as a grappler, I think you like that, right?
Yeah.
But it was a great match. It was a great night for him. But he ended up getting a submission in that second round. It was awesome getting to watch it all. We're at the point now where I can, take a Saturday off. When I take a Saturday off, we include travel and work, I'm taking a $1,500 to $2,000 loss now, which is great because we're at that moment where I can get away and start seeing stuff. So it's cool. I got to see him. It's the first fight I got to see, and we might see Joel on I think December 20th. But we're waiting to confirm that fight card. So we're looking now for more MMA fighters sponsored, and then I think we'll delve more into jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, jiu-jitsu I think would be good for clients because they're always getting hurt. But as far as the reach, MMA fighters just have a bigger reach.
Right, 3 different gyms are more per fighter, right?
Yeah.
Just makes sense, but
Jiu-jitsu is a whole lot of fun to do, but even I don't really like watching it. It's just
right.
It's not aesthetically as pleasing as seeing somebody actually get in there and just start swinging.
Right. Unless you see
it.
a crazy submission within 2 minutes, right? But how often does that really happen at a top, top type of, do they call it kumite, grapple? I don't know what you call it usually, jiu-jitsu. I'm seeing all these terms, and it seems like everyone calls it something kind of different.
I think kumite is its own specific organization.
Okay.
And then I think a lot of the other ones just they have their own name for everything, but just higher level grappling competitions, I guess. Worlds I know is a really big one.
Yeah. Is it ACDD? Is that the correct acronym for the what just happened in Las Vegas? Can't remember.
don't
It's
remember.
ACDD or ADCC.
ADCC. It
ADCC.
sounds familiar.
We'll go with that one.
I don't follow it, but
Yeah, I
that
just
sounds familiar. I know I've heard people talking about it.
Yeah, a lot of people, I guess, they go to that one. And it's kind of like the prototype or your like testing period before you go off to Worlds.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of interesting to see people treat that as like a stepping stone, trying to see where you're at, gauging level wise, and then they go to that one. I'm like, man, that's a lot of competition within a month. That's impressive.
So you said you started out wrestling?
Yeah, I wrestled in high school. Graduated from Little Valley View, Germantown, Farmersville combined. That's their little school. But went to state my senior year and then got killed at state. Went 2-0, but I was happy to be there. Taught me a lot of lessons, and those losses actually are what helped me with business. I learned. I only wrestled really a couple of years because I had a lot of injuries. So I was happy just to make it to that level. But the people I lost to, I got to talk to them after. They wrestled since they were 5 or 6 years old, and they were both state placers at that tournament. So it showed me what happens if you really pursue something consistently for years versus just try really hard for 2 years.
Yeah.
You might get to the top in 2, but you put in that time. So it's very much a business mindset when you look at sports that way. But yeah, it's definitely was a good time.
Nice. Yeah, I noticed you're freaking gigantic. What does your workout regimen look like? Yeah.
Oh shoot! Just the dang bodybuilders, they influenced me. I had a lot of injuries from training like a power lifter. So once I got into massage therapy, I transitioned more to doing just more volume. So right now I'm kind of taking a break and doing more of like I call it a bro split. Might do like legs one day, chest one day, back one day, and then accessories the 4th day. And I try to sneak in a little bit extra, like a second leg day usually. But kind of more hamstring focus versus quad focus in the beginning of the day. Usually I do like 2 upper body days, 2 lower body days, but time wise and everything, I just kind of need a break physically, hammering away at everything twice a day or twice a week on top of massage therapy. A lot of this pushing, and then you're bent over, so your back's sore.
Yeah.
The whole upper body's usually lit up. If you don't take care of your hips, you're going to fill in your legs too. So we're kind of dialing it back and just kind of hitting everything once a week, really.
You ever get like your fingers or your wrists cramping up when you're doing the massage?
Thankfully not. A lot of massage therapists do, especially in like their first year. It's lifting weights that helps because you're used to holding like a barbell.
Oh, yeah.
And, gripping dumbbells. If you do things, I'm trying to tell my team right now, if they're going to do anything, man, get used to just hanging from a bar up high, like a squat rack or a pull-up bar. You do that, just hold for as long as you can. You get those forearms really strong, those hands really strong. And then people will do like finger extensor workouts too. We just get like a band. You can literally do like a rubber band and just go like that just to get the whole front of that hand going. So I'm a big fan of doing that. I only do it once a week though, honestly. Pretty lazy about it, but I never have hand issues, so I figure once a week's better than none.
If it works, it works.
Right.
What's the tattoo on that side?
Shoot, my wife's birth flowers.
Oh, that's cool.
And then above of that was a mistake I made when I was 14. I got the classic cross tattoo that you see a lot of wrestlers do in high school. And, you got to get parental, permission and everything, do the whole signing. And, but the good thing is, the good lesson is, it showed me how to work for something. So I had to pay for it myself, Mowed a lot of lawns, which is why I hate mowing lawns now. You will not see me mowing a lawn. My wife and I bought a house a couple of years ago, just not 2 years ago.
Nice.
And the agreement was I don't have to mow the lawn because I'm going to be pushing on business, and I really don't want to mow the lawn because I just don't like it. I've mowed, thousands of lawns at this point. I don't want to do it. So thankfully she actually likes being outside doing like all the yard work and everything. So she does that, thankfully. Thank God for her.
Same. I hate mowing yard.
Yeah, like if I had a rider mower, that's different. But as being physical yourself too, it's not the most fun when you've already been physical for 20 to 40 hours a week, and then here you are mowing late at night because it's the last minute and you're busy all day. The worst.
Is your wife part of the business too, or does she do her own thing?
Yeah, she does a lot of behind the scenes stuff. So she's actually a stay-at-home mother now. She worked at Royal Canin for like 10 years. And then once we started building the team up, she was able to, quit her job and then just be a stay-at-home mom, thankfully. And when I say just stay-at-home mom, it's not just. Like, it's a lot. We've got a toddler and everything. She's constantly moving and everything. And she's helping, coordinate everything, too, because I'm very chaotic. So she's helping bring structure to the business. So doing the planner all the time. That was her idea. So we're starting to do that, every Monday now. Except for today, we had to be here, dang it. Stupid frickin' Banter.
Darn.
Darn it. Ruining my whole month. I'm just kidding. But happy to be here. But yeah, she does a lot of that stuff, and then as far as social media and everything goes, she's helping with, some of the, DMs or direct messages on there. And then I think I told you before we started this, literally missed yours because there's just too many messages going on. So she's definitely helping out with that, thankfully, because that's chaos. And then she helps with planning things with me too, because I'll talk out loud about what I want to do, and she'll fine tune it. It's funny, she never went to business or did anything like that, but she actually has a very strong business mindset, very practical, and can structure things. Versus I'll have 20 ideas, I think one sounds good, and she can kind of play with that and tweak it around. It's pretty awesome.
That's cool. She's just got a good business mind for it.
She does, yeah. She really does, actually. It's pretty cool. Not many people have a supportive spouse, so I got lucky there.
Nice.
A lot of business owners, they have a spouse, and then divorce happens later. I see it all the time, and it's rough. But it's got to be a full support system. So I'm lucky to have her.
That's cool. You guys working together and all that.
Yeah.
So how'd you get the business, like, from the idea of getting it started to actually getting off the ground?
Yeah, all right. So I was a personal trainer at Anytime Fitness for 5 years in total, but at about the 3.5 year mark, I was thinking about starting a business very heavily at that point. And I wanted to be self-employed first, and eventually maybe have a team. I was looking into just different ideas, and one day a guy named Ronnie Watts came up and asked if I ever had a massage before, and he was about to graduate from the same school that most people graduate from, Dane School of Medical Massage. And he was looking to get into gyms actually himself, possibly. Like, he was just kind of toying with the idea. And then so he gave me a quick, massage as I'm standing there real fast, real choppy sports massage style, like you're getting ready for an event instead of like a slow, deep, more therapeutic, medicinal style. So it was really cool though, because I was super sore and everything. Back then I was training like a power lifter. Pecs were always tight. Back was always, rounded forward too, just from the style of lifting. I wasn't doing any type of, corrective exercise to fix that. I wasn't aware of that then. And him doing that just 5 minutes on each side here, life changer. Did that, and I was like, damn, now I know why, everything's so tight. Now I can reach my arm overhead, without any hesitation. Before, I could feel some resistance.
Yeah.
Now I'm starting to see everything's really tight here, and then my back felt better. The scapulas were moving better. So he kind of planted that seed, and a month later, I looked into everything, and was like, we're going to get started with this. I showed my wife kind of a loose plan and idea, and she liked it, went along with it, and then from there, I had to do a business portfolio as part of the program for the school. I really went into it, man. That was my favorite project. I normally don't like projects. That one I loved, because I'm like, this is pretty cool. This is what I want to do.
So what all do you have to put in the portfolio?
Gosh, so you had to put in what your rates would be, how you would charge or take payments. I believe that part I don't remember, but I'm pretty sure we had to put how we would take payments, other services you would offer. So I was thinking maybe I'd sell whey protein or some other stuff, but a lot of gyms do really bad with that stuff. So I'm thinking for the massage side, I didn't really want to play with that because there's something missing there, and that's something I didn't want to solve later. But I did put that in there. Just supplement sales, a little bit of apparel sales, and then just how you would structure a team if you were to go past just being, just one person. And then, man, I know there's some other stuff, but I really don't remember. But I had a bunch of fun with it too, and just for fun, it didn't have to be serious for the title. We named it something stupid like Yaki Udon Noodle Fitness. So originally it's going to be a gym involvement too, which down the road we will add a gym at some point, hopefully in the next 2 to 3 years. But yeah, that was all part of that. So I put stuff in there, even with the gym as well, what memberships would be. But it was pretty fun.
That's cool.
But after that, I took some of those numbers, and it worked out pretty well. Obviously, I haven't done the gym stuff. We're still working just with purely massage therapy for now. And then as far as how we got started with working more with athletes, that was because of working with Aaron Ashe. He had torn his pec. He was in prep originally for bodybuilding, and it pulled him out of prep that year. So the goal was to get him back into prep the next year and make sure, we could heal that pec up. Worked out well, I was with him weekly for a little bit there, and then we changed it every 2 weeks and then monthly. So worked out real well. But third session in, so I've only known him for 3 weeks at this point. He goes, brother, you have got to start working with athletes. And I looked at him and I was like, well, or at least, some of them like you, like, or the majority like you. And he goes, at least half of them. Like, all right, I could do that. It's better than a coin toss. And, if you get 10 people, you're lucky to have, one person with that type of mindset, that type of drive and just integrity to, get better and excel and help others. A lot of athletes are like Aaron. They want to help others. So if you help them, they're going to help you succeed. He's helped me with, getting in a lot of extra new clients. Someone's injured that he cares about, send them over to me. And also, I've referred them out to my PT buddy, Allison. She does a lot of dry needling. So from there, he's helped refer clients to her too, which has been really cool to see. So her business is now growing. And so I worked with a bunch of athletes pretty much soon after that, but it was by just going through a hybrid strength and fitness, actually, their Instagram. They used to do free Saturday every single Saturday, and it was amazing because you would see people from 8 to 10 plus gyms coming in, and they would all tag the gym, so they would post it on the story. So during that time period, my wife was working full time still, so I had 3 days a week where it was all dad day. So I didn't want to work in front of my daughter, especially with her being so young and just being born. Just didn't want to put in bad habits like that too. Just I don't want her to be addicted to the phone like most people are, right?
Yeah.
So what we did was I just would screenshot all these stories, and then I would just send a message to them for 1 to 2 hours. I would just go crazy on the phone, spam as many DMs as I could, just offering a free massage, letting them know, hey, I want to build a team off of sports massage therapy, working with athletes specifically, and that I want to be number one. And just showed them the whole dream and vision, and something that was about a paragraph. And I kept tweaking it every 10 to 20 DMs, and it worked out well. Gave out 100 free massages, and then from there, word of mouth spread through multiple gyms. We even have almost 10 clients that I work with from Spark Society out in Columbus, of all places. Nice. So for an hour massage that they're paying for, they're driving 3 to 4 hours total for it. It's kind of crazy. Got people from Cincinnati as well. Beat Fitness is another gym where we've got a pretty big handful, over 10 clients I work with from there, which is pretty cool to see because I personally would never drive from Cincinnati or Columbus for tissue work. I would do my best to find someone that's the best within 30 minutes. That's how I work because I always got stuff to do. But, these athletes are very driven, so I won't disrespect that. I love that. It's pretty cool. But,
yeah, and that's a good niche to get into because, not only are athletes always getting hurt, but most of their friends are athletes, and they're always getting hurt too, so.
Absolutely, yeah. So easy referral system, and you get to learn language because first I thought just bodybuilding, and then it turned into powerlifting as well, and then it turns out that what they do is they call them crews. So you look for a crew, and you can type that in #crew or some other things on Instagram, just playing around with the language. Then you find one person in a crew, and then before you know it, you're working with all of them. I'll be at a meet out in Columbus actually on December 6th, I believe. It's either 6th or 7th, whichever is a Saturday. And we got six clients of mine that are all in the same powerlifting crew or competing at this meet. So it's
nice.
Cool. I get to be there all day, help them load up and stuff. I don't know if we'll be getting like a coach's pass or something. They're pretty loose about it. So might have me in as a coach that way I can just help with everything.
You like sponsoring? They have like your logo and everything?
You know what?
Cool.
Actually not. But you know what? It's a good idea. But I probably won't get to it in time. But thank you. I'll need to talk to you next time about that. That's a great idea. I didn't even think about it. Two people that we sponsor will be at that meet though. So they'll be doing tags probably without me asking. Honestly, they're gonna do it anyways. Everyone does extra tags, which is really nice because I only ask for one story a week, but a lot of people do 2 to 4. So
that's cool.
Yeah, it helps out a lot. But yeah, so it turned into powerlifting from there, and then that's how we got into jiu-jitsu. Essentially, I started going through all the gyms. So in Dayton, picked up 13 recreational or bodybuilding or powerlifting like gyms. Went with all those. Couldn't ever break into CrossFit though.
Really?
Not a single gym. Yeah, I don't know. I know they're a tight-knit community, and
you can say cult. It's okay.
Thank you. So it's interesting you say that. So I work with strongman competitors too. My strongman competitors, my bodybuilders, and my powerlifters all talk about how each gym is a cult. And some of the gyms were made from other gym owners, basically breaking up in a sense, right? So they started another CrossFit gym. So I don't know how much of that is at play, but there's a few gyms that all just have weird reputations in the CrossFit community because of that. There's just this big divide, like a civil war, and they just hate each other. So it's interesting. So I don't know how to break into that. I know if I get into one, I'll be hated by 1 to 2 other gyms naturally. So I kind of don't want to delve into CrossFit because it's kind of polluted in Dayton. And the more I learn, it's like a civil war almost without people knowing. It's kind of worse than jiu-jitsu, right? Jiu-jitsu has the branches, and you got some gym owners that will talk bad about one. And in jiu-jitsu, at least, like, you have a big line, so I haven't had any issues. You know, I've gone through 12 different jiu-jitsu gyms, right? And no issues at all. So, you know, not everyone responded, but we were able to get a handful from each gym, so working out pretty good. But CrossFit, something is there. There's a shield, and I cannot get in. And even if they open the message, it says seen, there's never a response.
That's weird.
I know. And
Super weird.
My wife, actually, when she stopped working, she started working on DMs with me, right? So as soon as she was done with Royal Canin, boom, we're doing Instagram. Yeah. And so I had her go through all these, I think 4 or 5 CrossFit gyms, and it was crazy. No one opened the message. And like, there's a system to get someone to open a message, right? Like if they don't follow you, then, you know, you go to the message requests or the hidden requests, depending on like what's going on with the algorithm. So you gotta follow them. You gotta like a post, maybe 2. Make sure it's fitness related, so that way it doesn't look like you're a creep. Yeah. And then also if they have stories going, you gotta like a story. You know, maybe put a comment on there. And then wait 24 hours to send a DM, because finally they'll give them enough time to, see it and then follow you. But we do the same thing, and it's never worked with CrossFit for some reason.
That's weird.
Yeah.
I know. Like, I like going to just random jiu-jitsu gyms and having a class, meeting new people, and like learning new moves and seeing if the moves that everybody else at your gym has already figured out the counter to still works. And some people who've never seen it before. Yeah. And like, I know there's a couple gyms that don't like other gyms, and every time I walk into one, it's like, hey, I just wanted to train today. Like, where's your main gym at?
Yeah, you get the eyes.
Yeah, the eyes. Their head goes back. Yeah. Their eyes squint a little bit. Like, where do you train at? And most of the time, I'm like, well, I train at Queen City. Like, oh, okay, that's cool. You can come on in. But
absolutely. Well, it's weird. I've heard some of the owners, like there's some people that will go to other gyms and let's say, hey, don't tell my coach or the owner of this gym or whatever the word is, right? Like, don't tell them, that I was here. Or don't even take a picture. Like, hey, if you take pictures, just don't put me in it. Like, and if something's being posted, like, hey, take that down, please. It's interesting. Yeah. So I don't know. Some
there's some politics there.
Yeah, but it's kind of like that in all things. I mean, even I've worked with 13 gyms, directly a few of them, like actually working with some of the owners, like Hybrid, for example. I work with David. He's awesome, but like, you have all these, different gyms, but there's no unity, right? And it's interesting because I come in and then we're the medic, we're the healers. Yeah. So it's like because business is business, right? You got to fight for your members in some way. I'm not saying you got to be nasty or anything, but in our case, we constantly do DM marketing and it works. And that makes people mad too. We had a couple incidences where people were territorial because they had a massage therapist in their gym that was subleasing a room. So they're getting business mixed up. They think that if someone rents a room out within another business, they think that they're like tied into contract and that they're like co-owners or like they have certain splits together. But no, it's just as simple as like someone renting a room out. That's it. It's just they're part of the apartment building, right? Yeah. They don't really understand it, so they think that if you send a DM to someone and you don't know or can't tell that they're, with somebody else, or even if they are, it kind of doesn't matter. Mistakes happen, Yeah. It's a pizza flyer we're basically essentially sending out to people. Yeah. You've read it yourself, it's the pizza flyer approach. And so some people see the pizza flyer that we'll send out to them, via Instagram, and they'll get super mad. So we got a group of like 30 people that actually don't even like me, even though they never met me. And it's cool because they're telling people, like, don't see that guy. Don't see him. This other guy's way better. And it's awesome because, you think word of mouth could be bad, right? But it's not. Like, we're still getting clients from that same gym without doing anything. And we stopped sending DMs to the specific gym, but we're still getting clients because something's happening with that specific massage therapist. I don't know what it is. I don't need to know because it's going to get me in trouble if I probably know, or I don't want to be tied to that. Yeah. But yeah, it's, like a couple weeks ago, we got 4 new clients. And I don't know why.
Cool.
I know exactly. Like, I can't work there. They need help. We're going to help them. So yeah, so it's interesting because no matter what you do with DM marketing, you just get clients no matter what. Like, there's always people that need help, and You know, if they see a nice price, they're like, all right, we'll go with that one, try it out. If they like it, they're willing to pay, instead of 50% off, they're willing to pay 100% off. And these other massage therapists that, you know, try to work with gyms, they'll charge, you know, $20 to $40 less than what we charge, because they got I'm assuming they have the mindset where they're new, so they have to really undervalue themselves. Versus, you know, I'm not new, and we're just going to put it right at the market. You know, 110 is the going rate per hour, and then like 139 to 159 is the going rate for, you know, 90 minutes. We put it at 139 just to persuade people to, you know, just pay maybe $29 more to get an extra 30 minutes. And a lot of our massage therapists are like me. They go over. You get extra time normally. So it's definitely worth the value in a sense compared to, you know, a lot of other places. But yeah, so people are willing to pay more, and it's pretty awesome. I didn't think it would work out that way.
No.
So pretty lucky.
I mean, hey, the quality's right. Price reflects it.
Let's hope. Let's hope. We're gonna keep trying to make quality better, though. That's the goal for as this year ends. We're looking at 2026, and we're gonna start having physical therapists come in and, you know, mentor and teach our people. It's just, that's cool. So actually one of the reasons why I was late today to this podcast. We just got done talking to Gage, I believe Rossman is how you say his last name, but we're going to talk about how he can help kind of mentor our team and give us that next level of education.
Nice.
While also teaching, which is what I wanted, how to refer out to people that need maybe more care from a PT for whether it be dry needling or a full assessment. Then we just take care of the tissue work, really. And he can do, you know, all the exercises and all the dry needling, and we'll just do, you know, massage, what we're supposed to do, you know. Yeah. So I'm hoping that we can get that going with as many PTs as possible. That way everyone gets better care. A lot of people will go to massage and they'll think it'll fix them, and you know what? A lot of times it really does, but, you know, every once in a while it just doesn't. You need something extra. Yeah. So I'm hoping to, you know, try to fine tune as much as possible. That way people don't just waste money, you know, having us work on them. Because as much as, you know, money might be nice, right? But if you're not helping the person, that kind of goes against the whole ethics side of massage. Yeah. You're supposed to be a giver and a healer, not just trying to steal money. Yeah. It's supposed to be, you know, relationship-based business, not transactional. I hate that. You know, there's a lot of people that just want to work on people and never refer out to, you know, a physical therapist, a chiropractor, whatever, you know, whatever other modality or profession that can help you.
Yeah, so I'm sure you can fix a lot with the deep tissue stuff, but every once in a while someone needs like a surgery. Something's like torn.
Yeah, like I'm sorry, if something's torn, massage is not going to be the answer. You're just making it worse.
Do you do anything with arthritis?
Yeah, so like a lot of times it's interesting with arthritis and everything. A lot of times, like wintertime, right, you have people come in, and you should just be people maybe in their 50s on the low end, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and, you know, 100, right? So because, you know, everything kind of flares up more when it starts getting cold, right? You get that achy feeling. But anyone that's ever had an injury, especially if it was in, you know, high school or below, as you age, you definitely have a lot more arthritis. For example, when I was 25, I had my right elbow scoped out just because of the fact that they told me I had the arthritis of a 60-plus-year-old man just because I dislocated it back when I was, you know, sophomore in high school from wrestling. Classic mistake of posting when you shouldn't to prevent a takedown. Once you do it, you never do it again. I tell you that.
Yeah. I did that once and dislocated a finger.
You got lucky. But yeah, I'm sorry that happened. But you'll never do it again, right?
Never.
I wish I had that mistake. This still sucks, though. Fingers take so long to heal being so far from the heart.
It was locked up like that for so long. Like I went
crooked now a little bit?
Slightly.
So it's like
a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, I went to physical therapist and they like showed me some stretches to get it to where it was like almost perfect. I was like, okay, that's good.
Yeah, that's I get it. I'm the same way. From got wrapped up in the finger from a takedown and the person jerked weird. So,
yep.
Yeah, it's the worst. Probably took way longer to heal than
months.
Yeah, same.
Wild.
Yeah. I could not hold a barbell really for like 3 months. It's so dumb, right?
Joints are crazy.
People give Joe Burrow all this crap for his turf toe, but people don't know how terrible something so small can hurt.
Yeah. It's wild.
Yeah.
But the reason I asked about the arthritis is my dad is starting to have some serious problems with his hands. And he's going to go see doctors with it recently. I was just wondering if there's anything that you could do or he could do.
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously you can't like cure arthritis, but can make it at least, you know, feel better, especially when things are inflamed. Everything locks up around it, right?
Yeah.
Like they call it, a lot of times people call it the splinting process. Everything just gets so tight. So it's nice because at least you can help promote some blood flow. So that way, if there's anything, you know, actually injured, not just arthritis, but anything that's torn, it's probably small tears there, right? So it can help alleviate that, get some of that range of motion back just from stretching it out. And then other than that, you know, I mean, if it's too bad though, you know, unfortunately, maybe it's a surgical thing, right? And it's a good thing if he is getting, you know, that extra medical help just to make sure, because you know we don't have X-ray or MRI vision or ultrasound vision, right? Unfortunately, I do want to get a PT. If any physical therapist hears this that wants to start, you know, saying we could do all this stuff, please send them to Move Better Massage Therapy LLC, because I definitely want that next step of care. But until we get that clearance from a PT or a doctor of some sort in that realm, you know, we can't really do any of that stuff. So I'm glad that he's getting that extra care, because honestly, you know, it could help at least alleviate some symptoms. But I definitely would recommend, you know, getting it looked up by a higher end professional in the medical field.
Yeah, I think he's got an appointment here in like a couple of days. But like,
Perfect.
Yeah, it's really starting to bother him. So
yeah, hands suck.
yeah.
Hands suck. Everything else, you know, all the bigger stuff, at least usually you can work with that a lot easier, especially anything around like the shoulder and the hips. But little things like the hands, that one, unfortunately, like, you know, sometimes you can help alleviate everything and take most of it away as far as pain levels. But yeah, you definitely making the right call there.
So when you first started, were you doing like home visits with people? Did you have a space already, or like how did you do that?
Yeah, that's you know, no one's ever asked me if I had like if I was doing home visits first. So home visits is an interesting topic because no one's really pursuing it to a high level. So any massage therapist listening, take it to a high level. You'll be the one. Build a team off of it, because eventually that'll be a thing going around, you know, unless we choose to adapt that as well. But, you know, California is huge out there, right? And so sports massage, all my ideas kind of came from California and a little bit of Atlanta as well.
Are you from there?
So, no, it just happens to be where it's super huge and trendy, and social media. I forget what Chris Bumstead's massage therapist is, but essentially, you know, the massage therapist from California made tissue work really popular for bodybuilders. There's a couple other guys, but that was like the guy that really got things going recently. So I hope, even though I've never met the guy, you know, definitely has helped my business, because that's why bodybuilders in the Midwest are open to tissue work. It's really just because of, you know, Chris Bumstead just, you know, documenting all of his massage sessions with this one guy. Wish I could remember his name, but he's just a redheaded guy that's pretty jacked, and he's got a bandana on. So for fun, we might start wearing a bandana like him, just out of respect, since he pretty much helped me indirectly get the business going.
There you go.
Dang, I already forgot what the original question was.
Massaging at home.
Oh yeah. No, so
Like before you had an official, actual like
brick and mortar type deal. Yeah. So or I did not actually. I didn't really have any interest in that at first, just because already, you know, being new into massage therapy, trying to get your own, and being new into business too.
Yeah.
I wanted to make sure everything was kind of stationary. So I like just renting a room out. So I rented a room out first, and essentially I got a really good deal. I started off in the Dayton Optometric Center, and Dr. Heath Gilbert, he's an optometrist. He has this building, or had this building. He ended up merging his two buildings into one. But in the building that I was out of, that he had a couple other, you know, or a few rooms actually on the other half where he just had it rent out to other businesses. So there was a massage therapist there named Heather Smith, actually. And Heather, she had let me know that she knew I was looking for a room, because I met her working at Hand and Stone, where I first started working out in the Dayton area. And she had just a couple days a week there, just very minimal hours, just for a little steady income, you know.
Yeah.
And also, it kind of helps when you're starting out that multiple jobs, because you get, you know, that extra word of mouth going. So if you have your own practice, it can be pretty smart if you utilize it the right way. So she let me know that there was a room open. So it was nice. It was like a shared waiting space that we had, and then two separate rooms. So we might have like the same waiting room, but other than that, we had our own rooms. And so it was very divided that way too. That way it wasn't, you know, intrusive business versus business or anything. And it was nice. I got to refer a couple people over to her too. And I think she referred a couple others as well. I know she did one for sure. So that was nice. So it helped out a little in the beginning. And we got to split rent in half. Dr. Heath Gilbert, awesome guy. Very much undercharged to have that. No utilities or anything. $550 split in half between us. So it was like $275 a month.
That's nothing.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so when you're starting off and you only have $5 in your account, you can make it work. So that's what we did. Yeah, we definitely made it work that first month, since he definitely had that, you know, low charge, thankfully. And he was old school too. Like he's like, if you're gonna be behind by a week, just send me a text. It's okay. Oh, thank God. I never had a user abuse that system, but you know, there were a couple times where I just forgot to drop the check off, and I just shoot him a text saying, hey, I have the money, but I totally forgot to drop the check off. I'm not used to writing checks, which he knew because I was just starting out. And he was a very good guy too. Kind of looked at me not like as like a kind of like an uncle / father figure. So he was giving me some business advice and just what he learned. So that was really nice. So he pretty easy way to start into business, and very just like low key going into it.
That's cool. So I'm always curious about how people not just start the business, but also get that first location. Because I have a lot of people come to me from like the jiu-jitsu gym when they start getting close to getting their black belt. They're like, can you help me like lease a space? I'm like, did you need any loans or anything to do it?
No, it was super low just getting into it. I only needed a few $100s to get everything that I needed for the room ready. And then I think it was only a couple $100 more just to get things set up, with the state and with the city and everything.
That's cool.
And then, so for less than $1,000 before I pay that first month of rent, I was able to get everything going. I just needed, put in the extra $275. And then I think he had me put like an extra month in just to get started. So I think it was $550 like starting out. But it might not even been that. He was a really nice guy. So either way, it didn't bother me any. I was just happy to know $275 after that first month was all I had to pay. Because I had no idea what was going to happen with this business. I had no idea how I was going to do anything yet. I had to learn, month by month, day by day. Lots of business podcasts.
Yeah.
And lots of Alex Ramosi. He was very influenced by that before he took off. Now he's everywhere in business. But before he did the crazy, scaling everything and trying to sell you every business, idea that he has, just listen to a lot of podcasts and go for a walk to, figure out what I wanted to do, really.
So you got the 2 spaces now and the 1 office. Is your plan to get like your own standalone building or rent more spaces in that spot? Or what are you thinking? What's the next step?
That's a good question. So it's because of how affordable it is there, right? If I wanted to have 3 rooms and a waiting space and also utilities taken care of and everything, so I don't have to pay utilities there, which is huge, right?
Yeah.
Save me a few hundred, if not more, a month. Probably closer to $600-700 a month. So that's nice. Those utilities alone cost more than just one room if I want to rent out there. Now, if I want a suite, it'll be a little bit more expensive. But I'm only paying like $1,280 a month to have technically 4 rooms, 3 massage rooms, 1 waiting room, and utilities paid for. Like I don't have to pay for utilities, so that's huge. Versus all these other places I went to, it was essentially going to be $2,500 to $3,000 before utilities, so over $3,000, closer to $4,000 a month. So it seemed like a no-brainer to go ahead and just add the rooms upstairs. It kind of sucks because, if people have knee pain or anything, they got to go up 13, 14 steps there and then go back down them at the end, right?
No elevator?
No elevator, old school. So that's also probably why it's a cheaper, building. But, thankfully, most people come in with upper body issues for us. A lot of shoulder issues, a lot of neck issues, a lot of upper back scapula issues, So no one really minds it, thankfully. We haven't had any issues since we got those rooms, I think, 5 or 6 months ago now, maybe. So it's worked out okay. But so we might just keep adding a room here and there as we add more.
So you own the whole building?
Pretty much.
Or rent out the whole building? Pretty
much, yeah. I mean, we could get to the point, once we have like 10 contractors with me, because we're hopefully next month we'll hire number 5 and number 6.
Nice.
So we're on our way, and we're about to be in busy season. We did all our growing basically during all the worst months of the year. So now these next 5-6 months. This is the easy time. We grew during the hardest time where everyone's usually going out of business. We did the opposite. We went from 1 person to 3 people to 5 people now.
Nice.
So this will be interesting to see. I guess we're hiring 6 and 7 technically. So if you include myself. So we'll kind of go from there. But we'll probably add maybe 1 more suite that has 2 rooms or, individual rooms maybe. And we'll see kind of what opens up in the building. Then once we're at 10 contractors there, we'll kind of look at what it looks like to get, our own brick and mortar, or if it's even worth it, Yeah. Like got to run those numbers at that point, and if I want to go the gym route and have a brick and mortar with a gym in there, and rehabilitation on the other side, or however we want to set it up, because we're still working on trying to figure that out. Yeah. Obviously, it depends on what the space looks like too. So I'm not quite sure yet. Goal is just get up to 9 or 10 contractors. Preferably 10, and kind of go from there and make sure we have a good system built up before we transition into adding, the whole gym side of things.
What about Another lease question. If there's like, let's say the roof needs to be replaced or anything, is the owner doing that, or do all the tenants have to kind of chip in and deal with that?
Nothing. That's why it's so convenient. I don't have to do a single thing. Yeah, the HVAC system, it's an older building, so there's every winter I'm learning there's an HVAC issue.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there was one, I think a whole thing needed to be replaced. There's like 3 different units in this building. That whole unit really needed a lot of work. It was a whole 2-3 day job. And rent didn't increase or anything. No issues, no texts or emails about anything.
That's sweet.
So, yeah, it's kind of hard to walk away, and that's why it's kind of how all these buildings are set up. I'm not sure what the doctor's name is, but I'm assuming it's old money because he owns over 30 buildings.
Dang.
And and he's like a proctologist, and they make good money, but not money that's gonna get you 30 plus buildings of that size.
Yeah.
Yeah, that math doesn't add up. So I'm assuming it's old money inheritance.
Yeah.
And yeah, so it looks like that's how all these buildings are set up.
They all just office buildings that you know of?
Pretty much. I mean, I've looked at 3 others in person, actually gone inside them, and they're all kind of set up like that.
Okay.
And then there's some others that might be different, but just what I've seen, yeah, they're all pretty much like that. Like where I'm located at, there's a big parking lot, and there's 3 bigger buildings. I'm the one in the middle. I know he owns all 3 of those, and then across the street, because I'm on East Ron Road, directly across the street from there is West Ron Road. I know he owns a bunch of the buildings back there too that I've looked at.
Interesting.
Yeah,
office spaces are difficult to own now because COVID happened, and then everyone realized, I can work from home, and then corporations realized we don't have to rent this office space. We can just make everybody work from home. Awesome. Then a whole bunch of office buildings closed.
So his target market essentially are people like me, where there's just one person they're starting out, and maybe they stay like that for years. Like for example, in the building I'm in, there's a couple accountants in there, and they've been there forever. I mean, literally forever. I've had a client come in and they had deja vu because there used to be a marketing agency that went out of business years ago that was upstairs. But it was her first job out of college 40 years ago. She hasn't been there since. And as she drives, she goes, "What the hell?" And she goes in and she goes, "I've been here before." And I look at her, I go, "Well, not with me." "When were you here?" "This is our first session." She goes, "My first job out of college over 40 years ago." I'm like, "Oh, what was it?" "That was a marketing agency upstairs." "Well, that's cool."
That's pretty neat.
Yeah, so I guess it's just everything's always just kind of been like that, and it's always been individuals or people that grow into a team and they're in that kind of middle step, and now they're getting into the 6-figure income, trying to figure out, do they want to go really deep in the 6 figures? Do they want to go to 7 figures? Or is this where they want to stay at? Is this satisfactory for whatever their goal is, whether it be income, or if you're like us, we're trying to change basically the culture of massage therapy. So it kind of depends on the person that's in that building.
When you're hiring people, is there something you look for, or some people you interviewed and you're like, "Nah, you can go"?
Yeah, so word of mouth is huge, right? I've got 4 people that I just haven't even given a thought to even set up to interview at this point. Pretty much everything's been organic. For the first time, a week I put a post out, looking for a massage therapist, just because this is the first time someone didn't just come up to me and want to work with me randomly. Yeah. So it's been all very organic. It's kind of weird. My first person I hired, Logan. Essentially, he was an intern actually while going to the school, and it was interesting because of the fact that I just told a client that I was gonna maybe look for an intern to take on, see if I want to have a second person working with me, kind of test the waters, because I knew I was going to be ready for one, because I was about to start doing these DMs, and I just had a feeling if I send out 100 DMs. Well, realistically 1,000 DMs probably, but if I get 100 people on this table for free, we're probably going to take off, because I already had a full book. I quit my job. I was already full-time a massage therapist. This was to see if we could get to that next level faster. And, it was definitely a fast speed bump. It expedited everything probably 10 times faster. I don't know if I'll find something like that again, But, yeah, so I told my client this, and then a week later, she goes, "Hey, I got your guy." I'm like, "What?" She goes, "Yeah, I just went to Starbucks, and she was working actually. She had some of her clients with her. She works with some special needs, and they were going in. And her job's cool because she goes around, just basically all these people that are on the spectrum. Essentially, they're they're going to different things, just being socialized. That way they're not missing out on anything. It's really cool because they're going out to, even gyms, they're going out to, Reds games or Dane Dragons, all this other stuff. This case, somebody wanted some coffee, so they went into Starbucks before they were getting to their next thing to do. And, Logan was just, he was on a break. He was actually doing his, he was actually working in the clinic, so he was getting his clinical hours going. And, he had a break in between, so he's picking up some coffee. They got to talking, and, because he had the scrubs on, that's why she was talking to him, right? And so, boom, she sent me his number, and after that, he met with me, I think, just 2 days later. And after that, I was sold. He was just like me. He's had a certification for personal training, so that was ideal with working with athletes because I understand that, he understands more about ergonomics and just loading and what happens, when you're in pain because he's been in pain, and it helps. He's a military vet too, so lots of wear and tear, lots of repetition from push-ups and stuff, and lots of running. So he understands what it's like to be tight. So for hiring him was kind of a no-brainer, and he just soaked up hands-on skills well. He was watching, observing, and you could just tell he was asking good questions. And then it's kind of just everything kind of fell in place. My next person was Reva. I have a mentor. Her name's Liz. I called Liz up and I asked if she knew anyone that's looking for a job, and she gave me a few people to reach out to, and she told me who her number one person was that she would recommend, and so that's how I got Reva, and she did good. The interview was crazy because, one, it was on my birthday. Two, I came straight from my daughter's 1-year checkup because she was born 3 days before me, so it's just got done with that, and my daughter's in a terrible mood. It just wasn't a good day for her. She's crying and everything, and that's how our interview went. So basically, it was like, well, can you handle this? Because I've had babies actually come in, and while massaging them, no joke, I've actually will stop, break, and just rock the baby for a second to get him to calm down because the sitter fell through. So this was and weird things like that happen. You're gonna have an extra person or a baby in there. So technically it was a weird interview to do, but it made sense because you're going to have a baby in there at some point, maybe you'll have more. And she did a good job with that and was able to answer everything with all these distractions going on, and in massage, a lot of times people won't work with you if you're, having a conversation, but you take your hands off the person and then, you're not working on them because you're responding. I've gotten a lot of clients that way versus Reva could, keep talking while doing all this with everything going on. So that was huge. I saw that she could handle the distraction work. So, just kind of kept lining up like that.
That's awesome. Do both of them do it full time too, or do they have other gigs?
It's just contractors, right? Technically for taxes reasons and everything, they should have other jobs. So Logan, I got him a job where I used to work at actually. So I just said, just use me as a reference and they'll hire you. And they did. So you left a good impression there, so that worked out well. Reva, she was getting tired of spa work, so she wanted to cut her hours down. So it was perfect timing. So she works she used to work at Spavia. She's transitioning jobs now, but she's working with me. So they both work, 3 days a week, sometimes like 4 days a week, and then they work, a day or 2 a week somewhere else. Dee, she was my next hire. She's awesome. She's driving all the way from Bellefontaine, which is crazy. So that big commitment, But, she sees the work and she, truly believes in it. And it's awesome because she's basically asking me questions. And I already knew that she was, looking for mentorship. I could tell that she wanted to do that and, try to see what she can do on her own, too. 'Cause she, out in Bellefontaine, she has her own practice that she's starting up. So I'm kind of her go-between where I'm giving her, a steady paycheck, right?
Yeah.
Every week she's getting new clients and rebooking them. But she opened up to me and said she just pretty much wants to do exactly what we're doing. So I'm helping her right now, with emails and texts and everything. So she's asking questions about this stuff, which is really cool. So next year the goal is to try to help her out a little bit more and then kind of see, does she want to maybe partner up instead, or does she want to branch off and just completely go all in and do her own thing? Either way, I'm okay. The fact that I can help her get to that next level, that's pretty cool, just starting out and already someone wants to, learn and try to imitate or make it their own thing, maybe even make it better, which is great because that's how you learn a business, right? And competition, if she wants to become competition in a sense instead, perfect, because now we can just kind of bounce off of each other. So either way, we're going to grow, so that's going to be cool.
That's pretty neat.
Then Helen, she is a full-time college student for Wright State, I believe. Well, also I can't remember if it's Wright State or UD, but one of the local colleges. And she's also working for me, so she's the only one that's not quite working another job yet.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that works out, down the road. But she's helping me out with a lot of things that I need to do right now that I can't get to, just with presence being in other gyms. So she's spending 1 day a week going out, just giving all free 20-minute massages, getting their info, and then putting those people in our system. That way they get our weekly email blasts and text blasts as well. And she's also getting clients out of it too. So it's
nice.
working out.
It's a win-win.
Well. Yeah, so we might have everyone do that at some point just to spread the presence faster. She's the trial run, but it's working out well, and she's the youngest one, so she's kind of the perfect way to see how it works with someone who, recently, she only just graduated high school a year ago. She truly is a kid as an adult, right, 19. Yeah. So she's kind of being molded and shaped into, kind of a young entrepreneur. So it's kind of cool to see that happen. So we'll see.
It's a good age to start doing that stuff.
Yeah, I wish I had done that.
Same.
Yeah, and also, could you imagine being 19, knowing you could be six figures by the time you're 21? I mean, that's not very common, especially with everyone else that, by the time they're 21. Usually there might be six figures in debt, so that's kind of the opposite, right?
Yeah.
Versus she'll be debt-free making six figures potentially is the goal. So
that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, she's gonna be pretty well off. She'll have a pretty good, happy, set life, I think. So I'm glad. Hopefully, my own daughter will get to experience some of that too. Has some of that work ethic.
I'm sure you can influence her from an early age to be like, hey, you don't have to just be an employee somewhere. You can start your own business. Here's all the mistakes I made. You can learn from it.
Yes, the lemonade stand. We're gonna teach it with lemonade. With lemonade. We're going to get other kids to do lemonade stands, the goal. And then I could teach you how a niche is important and how not having too many flavors. If you have too many flavors, it's bad and confuses people.
Yeah.
You don't want more than 3 options normally, right? Get to 4 and 5, people have decision fatigue already, and they don't even want to look at it. They see too many options, they don't want to buy. So we're going to definitely work on that.
Just waiting for the lemonade stand social media campaign.
Oh, it's going to be great. Oh, yeah. We're going to do it. It's going to be hilarious. But we'll see, though. I don't know.
At that point, you're going to have AI, like her fighting a ninja selling lemonade.
Yes. That would be perfect. She'll retire before elementary school.
Yeah. Lemonade stocks and everything.
That's right. That's awesome.
So, do you have any deals going right now with any of the jiu-jitsu gyms that I know about, like Queen City or
Iron Wolf Grappling Club?
Wolf,
yeah. So with Dan's first Iron Wolf Grappling Club, right now, we're offering on for December 7th, since Worlds is coming up in Las Vegas for, I want to say it's like the 10th through the 13th or 11th through the 13th, something like that. So on that Sunday, December 7th, giving free massages for anyone that's competing at Worlds. And then from there, I went ahead and extended the offer to Queen City as well. And then I'm going to send a DM later to is it Artisan Grappling in general, or is Artisan, I forget what it is. But you know how all 3 gyms
I've heard of Artisan.
now,
I've never been there.
Yeah, so all 3 gyms right now, they're rotating for Worlds practices, right? So I haven't actually talked to the owner of that one. I believe is it, how do you say George's last name? I believe they're affiliated with George Gurgel or...
It's UFC. Something like that. George Gurgel.
I always forget. I even watched him fight growing up as a kid, and I still can't remember his dang last name. But yeah, I know they're affiliated with George's gym, so I haven't really. The only person I know from there is actually Rich Franklin. So one of my clients works out with Rich, and now they grapple together too. So I get to work with Rich every once in a while. But that guy's crazy.
I bet.
Yeah.
You kind of have to be to do that.
Yeah, good crazy, though. He's so smart, very intelligent man. And he's also a giver, too. So I haven't worked with him actually probably in 3 months, though. So you best believe I want to reach back out to that guy. That guy's full of knowledge bombs. I should be paying him instead. He's very, you could tell, obviously, he was definitely a teacher in the past. So earlier I mentioned just want to change the culture of massage therapy. Yeah. Massage is pretty rough right now, right? Ohio is, it's a little bit better versus other states. It's one of the few states where you actually get a medical licensure. So you're taking it a little bit more seriously instead of looking at it as more of this spa, bougie, fluff and buff. Throw on the corny music and get the candle going with the wax everywhere, right? So a lot of places, they look at massage like that versus us. It's more therapeutic, more medical. We're kind of going more of that physical therapy route.
Yeah.
So the big issue though with massage though is that usually between 3 to 7 years into the field, you're burned out, or you have some crazy injuries, which is terrible to hear that 3 to 7 years after being out of school, you're retired, right? Whether because you're forced to be retired or you just, for some reason, something's not clicking.
Yeah.
The big issue, though, is the fact that you're overworked usually. Like if you go to a spa or a franchise, you're lucky to get up to $28 an hour, which is crazy. Can you imagine if your job is to work out for an hour every time you work with someone or more, maybe 2 hours, but you only get $28 every time you work out, but you do 20 to 30 workouts a week? And it's kind of hard to continue to do that, right? You're going to get injured if you're working out 20
So
to 30
your fingers
hours a
wouldn't
week.
work much after that.
Yeah, and carpal tunnel's huge, and honestly, if you look at all the people with remote jobs, heads forward, shoulders forward, and everything, and pecs are so tight. Like, everything is so tight, and then you get all these build up injuries from that.
Yeah.
Massage is the same way. People that do remote work actually have the same issues as massage therapists, and vice versa. So I want my people to end up working less, right? So the goal is to, make sure we add more people and raise the percentage of the splits that they get, and make sure that they get more and more money. So when they work with me, when they're coming fresh out of the college, right, they're getting paid already more than double what they're going to get paid starting out. Then after 2 years, they're getting paid, triple or more than what you could get capped out at. So it's nice because, you can essentially work less but get paid more still.
Nice.
There's a
So the
balance
longevity would just skyrocket.
there. Right, and we focus on using tools as well. So, muscle scraping, we're using kind of different tools for that.
Is that
For
weird
cuffs.
shape like metal bar?
Yeah, you got all kinds of different shapes. Yeah, I can't wait. So we're going to work with some welders, and that's hopefully making some tools there too. Patents are hard though, so I'm learning about that this winter. But yeah, definitely, the ergonomics are better. I buy hydraulic tables for every place I go to as well. So tables that lift up and down.
That's
that
cool.
way, you're not stuck with someone that's like 500 pounds, giant as can be. But now you got tippy toe because you got a wooden table and you can't get up on it, but you can't you don't have time to change the table.
Yeah.
So now you're kind of, you're SOL at that point, So the goal is to essentially make sure everyone's getting paid as much as possible over time while also working less. That way you can stay in the field longer, like you said, longevity. But if we keep on increasing at that point, I'm hoping, that can impact the spas and the franchises. Now, that might make it harder for me, right, as a business owner, but so what? That's business. You got to adapt. Every time you wake up, you got to adapt something, right?
Yeah.
The more people you have, the more things there are to adapt. So, worst case scenario, it's not my own problem I created, right? So we're going to try to essentially influence, Dayton in general, which is why we have a second location as a trial period or beta test to see what happens if we grow like a North Dayton there, and then we get like a South Dayton, and then if we choose to go, east, west of where we're at, and just kind of encircle that. And then over time, maybe, start putting locations directly next to a spa or a franchise. Because they're always behind on everything since they have these corporate rules, right?
Yeah.
So they can't play by normal rules. So we're doing social media, but we're going to start doing more. And we're doing DM marketing, but we're going to start doing more, right? And right now it started with just the gyms. But as we're working deeper and deeper with these gyms, we're going to start we're going to start like kind of networking into other things in between that are related. So I'm hoping that, this will help essentially change the pay structure for the spas or franchises because they won't ever go out of business, right? But no one's going to want to work with them.
Yeah, that's super clever. You're going to get those massagers who's been doing it for a while and they're burnt out, they're not getting paid, come right over to you, getting paid more, better environment. Exactly. They're going to bring the people with them who love them.
Right, exactly. And the more contractors we get, right now we have the cap in the contract to split it 60% going their way, plus obviously they keep 100% of the tip. At that point, you're making almost as much as someone that, owns their own business completely is doing everything all the time without all the extra hassle. But if we can add more and more people, I'm hoping we can increase that split from 60% and creep it up to 70% and see how we look from there, with the people that stay longer and go from, there. But we'll see. But I'm thinking that could be better, and by partnering up, with different physical therapists at that point, higher education levels, better level of care, and also referring out. If we can get some more partnerships going more legitimately, even with the financial side of things, then we can raise our prices higher for specific things too, which will be better for our massage therapists at that point. So we'll see. Yeah, it's a whole experiment, but it's taken off pretty well, and
Cool.
I think it could work out, but we'll see.
Random thought I had when you were talking about that. I used to be an EMT for about 3 years.
Really?
At like a private EMS companies. So I never did, well, I rarely ever did like a 911 call. I think I was doing it for 3 years. I would did lights and sirens like 3 times. But a good thing to know about those private EMS companies is a lot of them are just, they don't have all that fancy equipment that a lot of the big hospitals do, like those power cots where you hit the button and the hydraulics lift it up. So they've got these ratchety old cots and everyone's back hurts and everything.
Broken.
That might be a good spot to advertise.
Yeah. Heck yeah, that's perfect. So we need to go for that too.
Yeah.
We're going medical all day. We're going all in is what you're telling me.
Because it's nothing but lifting people that are like 300 pounds with a blanket and you're just pulling them like that.
That's a nightmare.
And then you have to lift them up on this cot that also weighs like 100 pounds.
That is a nightmare.
Could be a good spot.
Yeah, I'll look into that next because we definitely want to go medical because we already get nationally we get a lot of nurses, right?
Yeah, for
they
sure.
have the same issues, or if it's not like the ergonomics with that, then you have the crazy patients that kind of unfortunately have lost it with dementia or Alzheimer's or whatever it may be with their brain, and so then you gotta they're basically fighting, right? Like it's terrible, but one of them might try to pull on a nurse and then they got to pull back to make sure they're not literally going to die. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, nurses I've seen with just bruises just all over the arms and then getting hit in the cheek. I mean, it's wild to see that. Definitely couldn't pay me enough to be a nurse. I respect them. Yeah, definitely not with
However
people
much they get paid, they need more.
Yeah, double it. I don't care what you say. Make them all 6 figures and make them comfy into 6 figures. Get to that next level. Make sure they stay and forget about the burnout rate because the money's too good for them. You know?
Exactly. Awesome, man. I appreciate you coming out. How do people find you?
Shoot, you can send me a text or call at 937-856-8388. Or if you don't want to do that because people have phone anxiety now, let's go with Instagram. So it's just the handle's just Move Better Massage Therapy LLC.
Very cool. Facebook page?
Facebook as well, but I'm going to be honest, 99% of our clients come from Instagram. We're pretty much all in with Instagram. But there is a Facebook page, but I might not get to it. That's an issue we got to figure out because I'm behind on private messages or PMs all the time, unfortunately.
So Instagram's the best spot.
Instagram's the way to go.
Hey, that's how I got in touch with you.
Heck yeah.
Awesome, man. Hey, appreciate it, man.
Absolutely.